Okay. So can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we already.
Okay. What we did yesterday was we installed Nginx or Apache, and first we pull the Docker and we use the command docker pull. Then Docker pulls some image. Then we run the image, correct? Then we run the image with -p and the port of the on which your container is listening. Then we ran it with -detach mode. So now what we are gonna do is, let's say I have a website. Again, it's an application. I have the same application. I have my index.php page, and I want to use MariaDB container instead of if installing MariaDB in my local machine. And anybody heard of phpMyAdmin thing? Anyone?
No, I guess.
No?
I didn't know. I don't know about that. Maybe Harsha.
Okay, phpMyAdmin is the graphical user interface for to manage your MariaDB or MySQL. Okay?
Okay, that's it, right?
Huh?
That's it.
Yeah.
Like just a graphical. Okay.
Yeah. So let's say I want to install MariaDB, but for that we go to Docker Hub or doc your Docker Hub. Yeah. And we search for Maria DB. So what we can do is we can pull MariaDB just like that, and we go to yes. Okay, with every container there is some help available how to use that container. Everybody knows when we installed MariaDB, we set the username, we set the password so that we can log into our database. So here is a command docker run -detach or -d -name. You can name your container. I think we have not discussed -name switch yesterday, right?
No, no, no.
No.
No. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Then
But I have.
with yes, sorry.
Yeah, I've done this. I've done this. I have the.
Okay. -env is the environment variables which can be set inside your container. So
Name of the.
MariaDB user is equal to, you can give some username, -env environment password, MariaDB password for that user, and then we have the root password. and then the Docker MariaDB Docker's version. I mean, the latest means the latest one, or you can do the custom one. So this is the command I'm gonna paste on my shell. So let's first discuss what is the name tag. So Docker images. I have Nginx available. So when we say Docker run Nginx, Control C, Docker run -d Nginx. So Docker PS. So the name of my image is friendly Torvalds, whatever. So if we don't give our container a name,
Size can increase.
yeah, I can increase the size. Okay, change settings. Is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
Uh,
The
but
full
how?
screen will be better. Just yeah, this is yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, scroll down a bit. We don't see. Friendly Torvald. Friendly Torvald. Linus Torvald is a person who
Who?
who invented this Linux, right?
I don't know.
Linus Linus Torvald.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so what I want to do now is I can run my container with my own name, minus name. Let's say it is the
Test.
latest version. It is the latest version. So Nginx or let's say Nginx app. And here I will go latest. So if I do Docker PS, so this is my Nginx app. The advantage is if the machine is down, I mean, or the Docker is down, or you have rebooted your machine, when it will come online, all the containers will be stopped. So let's say Docker stop container ID and Docker stop container ID. So Docker PS. No containers running. So available containers are, I think I should reduce the size a bit. I think 16 is fine. So the container is friendly, blah, blah, blah. So Nginx app. Otherwise, with container ID, if I have hundreds of containers, I cannot remember every container ID. So then I can start my Docker start Nginx app, right? or at least I know this is Nginx app, so I can run this ID. I mean, I will always run with the ID. So now we were discussing MariaDB. So before that, one more thing.
Jishan, what is the difference between Docker run and Docker start?
Docker run always creates a new container. You can press Docker run every time, and every time a new container is created. If you want to start already created container, then you may run the start and stop command. Right?
Okay. Okay.
It's not like running the run means pull and run, pull and run, pull and run. So you will be adding more containers on every command. So there is one more concept of Docker network list. So we have, okay, I have already created my network. So there are these default networks, and this network I have created for my testing. I think, yeah, okay, leave. So if I have a Docker named X, Docker named Y, and Docker named Z, if they are in the same network, I mean, if they are in this same PHP, MyAdmin, MySQL network, but you can name them whatever you want. So all those containers who are residing on the same isolated network, they can talk to each other, and they talk to each other because you don't have the IP addresses. Okay, we have not assigned anything like IP address. IP address is automatically assigned by this Docker engine. So the containers talk to each other with their names. Like this Nginx app is a name, PHP-admin is a name, MariaDB is a name. So all the containers residing inside a network, they can talk to each other using the names. So what I'm gonna do now is I am creating my container. Yep. So what I am doing is Docker run -- detach port is 3306, which is the port of MariaDB. I'm naming it MariaDB, and my environment is MariaDB user is equal to admin. We have just discussed from the website. Password is password, and root password is Jazz82, and network is PHP my admin MySQL network. And then the name of the container maybe LATEST, latest. So because the name, okay, Control Z. I already have this container name. So Docker RM docker docker ps minus a. So this is the last one and it is in exit state. So docker docker rm done. So now I can do the command again. Docker run detach 43306 name MariaDB environment user admin password root password jazz82 network is this and MariaDB latest done. So now do docker ps. So our container started and listening on port 3306. Yeah, and the name is MariaDB. So I will run another command and I will also explain it to you. I went to Docker Hub and I searched for the phpMyAdmin pack. Or let's go on the website. I'll go on the website and I'll search for phpMyAdmin. So this phpMyAdmin, this is the official image, and I can pull phpMyAdmin and how to use it. Okay. Okay, yeah. Docker run minus name phpMyAdmin minus d detach mode minus links MySQL DB server is equal to minus p port 8080 and some more parameters. Or what we can do is, if we have a simpler version available, these are custom configurations, we are not doing it. So yeah, we are using this minus name, we name this container minus d detached mode minus e environment variable PMA host is equal to DB host. What is DB host? Because this phpMyAdmin will connect to database container. If you are confused here, please tell me. This Docker phpMyAdmin is a management engine for, or it's the graphical management interface for the database. So it will connect to database, and as we have seen, our database name was MariaDB. The container name was MariaDB. Okay. And if this container will listen on port 8080 and the name of the package is phpMyAdmin or phpMyAdmin colon latest or phpMyAdmin, you can install the, there are very few versions because there is no much change required. It's a very old tool and very mature and not a lot of versions are there. So now I'm gonna run this command. MariaDB, yes. And this was the name of our container. So this name I am giving here. I told you PHP, I am running these both container in a single network and the network name is PHP admin MySQL network. So let's see. We have two containers running. This listening on 3306 and this is listening on 8080. So what I'm gonna do is Wait a minute. I think screen share is a better option. I can do complete screen share. So what I'm gonna do is the IP address is of my host is 192.168. So this is phpMyAdmin. We set the username root and password was jazz82. In database, the root password was jazz82. So what I'm gonna do now is we can put user root and the password is J8ZZ82. And if it logs in successfully, I have connected this phpMyAdmin with my database, and the database has these default schemas. Anything till here? Because you guys became too silent. I can repeat this thing.
Yes, please.
I have,
So,
yes, please.
we created that PHP website by just using these commands, right?
PHP website, which PHP website?
I mean, the
This?
page, the web. Yeah.
PHP admin. Okay, this
Yeah.
is not a website. This is
I mean,
I mean, actually, this is some code, PHP code,
Mhm.
and it's a pretty standard. I mean, you can configure it with Apache without Dockers. It will be the same with Apache and my
These
we are doing
folders
these
we
folders.
see.
Yes, these are the default database information. You have
Oh,
MySQL database available. You have information schema available. When you do the default installation, you have performance schema available. But actually, we were not. I mean, DBAs here. So what I just did was in our previous classes, I created databases. Like I created a database test. If you remember, no, we created example 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 database, right? And we allowed test user to connect with it. So this is a phpMyAdmin. You can say it's a web application which connects to your database and pulls out everything from your database and displays it in a web interface.
okay.
Because MySQL or MariaDBs are databases and they don't have any graphical user interface. So this phpMyAdmin is a pretty standard thing, and you can connect your database through it. You can do any task with it. And I have pulled a container of this application, phpMyAdmin.
Okay. To the
Mhm.
network. Okay.
Yeah, same like image, right? How we pull from Docker Hub, that
Yes, I have
same
pulled
way.
this phpMyAdmin image from Docker
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hub, just like I have pulled this MariaDB image from Docker Hub.
Yeah.
And the configuration is we know what is run command. Docker run means create a new container.
Create a new
M-
container. Yeah.
minus minus name my container instead of a random name it to phpMyAdmin. Okay, this is phpMyAdmin because it will generate a random name, and if there is a random name, how I can tell my RMA host the environment variable is, when we create a container, we can set some environment variables. These environment variables are actually configuration that are pushed inside the container.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the environment variable in this case is this, yeah, this one. Environment variable MariaDB root password is equal to Jazz82. Yes. So this environment variable is standard MariaDB root password, and we can do is we can provide our own password, our own secret, and that is configured inside that container. So these environment variables are the parameters we provide to the container that while creating the container provide these arguments so that we can, I mean, if we don't have the password of database, what's the advantage of that Docker container if we cannot log in it, right?
Mm.
So now we are tell the same case is this, that we tell PHP admin that who is our database server which we want to connect to. So we want to connect to our database server, which is this MariaDB server. And then the rest is -p port is standard. We did it yesterday. -- network is PHP admin MySQL network. Okay, we have seen that this network is present here. And this is finally my container name.
So I have a question.
Yeah,
You created the network separately, like a bridge network, or is
yes.
it a default one?
I just created a network,
Okay.
any network, and we are just putting all the containers inside the network. We are just putting two containers inside a network
Mhm.
so that these two containers can talk to each other. That's it. And when I go to my web page, I think I should log out again. And this container, which is listing on port 8080,
Yeah.
it is PHP admin. And if I provide the password of root, which is 82, it will actually, this database is not here. This database is not present in this GUI interface. It is just printing it. Whatever is in the database, it is just printing it. So if I create a database example, it is created in the database. This is just the interface showing that this database is there, right? Or still confused?
Can you explain about network, please? What's the significance of it?
Okay. Docker network lists. So we have networks available because everything talks to each other with some communication medium. That communication medium can be IP. In Dockers, it is the name. We talk to our container using their container's name. The backend connectivity, if I have one container in this network and one container is in this network, they cannot talk to each other directly with names. Then we
Okay.
have to use ports or IP address to talk. Just so if I can create my own network, So
Yeah.
Docker network list. So my own network is created, and every container attached to it can talk to each other using the names. So let's do something. Maybe let's do something. I have cd var www html. I have my index page available in my HTML directory, and I have service httpd start. I have my Apache running. The Apache is running on port 80.192.168.133.80. So this is my Apache server, and we have a connection string. Okay, where is that Apache? Yes, more index.php. So what we are telling is, now we know that we have our Docker running on port number 3306 on our this host. And there we will create a database example, and the username who will be connecting to that database is test, and it will be using the password abc123. So if I do it, I have created the database. I think it's in this browser example, but I have not allowed any privileges to this database. And if I create a user test, because we are working with test, and password is abc123, retype password abc123. Before you, if you remember, we gave the permission like grant all privileges on the database to this user at the rate of localhost or IP address identified by the password. It is doing the same, but it can give you a lot of options that you can limit, select, insert, update, but we don't need to discuss that here. So if that user is created, what it does is, it has sent this command to database, just like we did create user test at the rate identified via MySQL native password using the password grant all privileges on static to test. It is the same thing. This application will send this code to the database, and we are connected successfully. And just to show you, if we give the wrong password, I mean vi index.php, and the password is 1234. So it is again not connecting as access is denied. Any confusion till here? What I did is, I have an application, a PHP website, which needs a Docker container. I mean, which needs to connect to MariaDB, and what I did was I pulled a MariaDB container. I pulled a phpMyAdmin image to configure that MariaDB server, and I created a database. So from my physical this physical machine, because Apache is running on this physical machine, I am connecting to a database which is residing inside a container. Right, Habib?
Yeah.
And the next step would be, this is my application. What we should do is, if this application requires a database, if this application requires is maybe PHP, so what we will do is, our application runs on PHP, we can pack our website or this application inside a container. And then everything should run on container, and on my physical host, there should be nothing running. So we will pack our container with the application code. We will have the MySQL container and we can connect everything together. But before going there, let me ask everybody, any confusion till here? Otherwise, continuing ahead is no way, because we will be doing everything with the YAML. Harshada, Sri Lakshmi,
Yeah.
are
Yes,
you
Jishan.
still confused, or it is making some sense?
No, I'm good.
No, good, good. Sure.
Okay, Mohsen?
Yes, Jishan bhai, you can proceed.
Okay, fine. So I have already made, well, I mean, I am already working on a document so that I can share with you in the end so that you can practice. Okay. So now again, we are with the YAML files, and okay, let's open it again. Before that, we were creating the networks, we were giving the names, we were telling the ports, and we were doing everything using command line. So if a small thing is changed, we have to destroy a container, we have to create it again. So that's a tedious thing to do. What we can do is we can make our YAML file, and we only run that YAML file, and it will pop, or it will create everything for you, all the containers, all the configuration, everything there. And when you will close it, it will destroy all the container. So you don't need to shut down the containers, you need to delete them, and you don't need to create them. So there is a tool, Docker Compose. Docker Compose takes the YAML file in a specific format and implements container for you. So the current version is version 3, and the services we want to run is like, when we were using yum module, we were telling that, okay, the name was MariaDB, the state was latest. So Docker Compose is a bit, I mean, it will not take it will take just the image name, because we don't have yum here. Then the container name, create container with this container name MariaDB. Okay, the ports 3306. I am using the MySQL default database 3306. Then our environment variables. We are using MariaDB user admin. These are the same thing we were using in command line. User password, root password is Jazz82. Then we are spinning another container, phpMyAdmin. The image name is phpMyAdmin. The container name, we want to create our container with this name. The port of the physical host which I am mapping to the inside port 80 of the container is 8080 is my phpMyAdmin port, because I want to run Apache on port 80. And I am telling our PMA host is this MariaDB. If this is MariaDB2, then this is MariaDB2. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's do it. First, Docker PS, Docker stop, this one, and this one. Docker PS -a. So we have nothing available here. Doc get Docker PS. You can see nothing here and no containers whatsoever. So what we will do is Docker compose -f filename mariadb.yaml. Okay. Sorry. Yes. What we did is a Docker compose -f is the file, our YAML file name, and up is like start the container. So it has started and printing the log phpMyAdmin. You see, phpMyAdmin is what? It's Apache server with a PHP configured with phpMyAdmin interface. And that interface is popped up using Apache. And we just give the password of the database. And then the log says, it is running Mario database files initiated. It is printing all the container log on your screen. And if I do Control C, it will stop those containers. Docker ps -a Docker ps. And if I say down, so all your containers are gone. Up means containers created, down means all your containers are gone. Arshada, are you confused? You're not that confident if you're getting it.
Yeah, Jishan. I think I need to
Oh,
go.
hmm. Okay, tell me where you are confused. In the file or like on the command line?
No, that file concept, you know.
This YAML file?
Yeah, from there.
Okay. This is standard. Don't forget,
Yeah.
okay, fine. Then we are running our container, okay, MariaDB.
Mhm.
So the image is like the image means if we are writing image here, it means this compose will automatically pull this image from Docker Hub. Image, you just tell this is image and you don't need to write Docker pull MariaDB latest, right? So
Okay.
this image will, what this tag will do is the Docker compose, whatever is written in the image, it will run a command that pull that image from the Docker repository. Now that image is downloaded in your system. Okay.
Mhm.
Now what we did next was Docker run and the image name. Here.
Yeah, Jishan.
So I was telling you that container name is like minus name command. we are naming our container with minus name command, right?
Yes.
So that's instead of minus name, you give a human readable name, container name. I mean, it is more understandable. And the name of the container which will be created is MariaDB2 or whatever you want to name it. Then we said -p ports. I mean, -p is like this is more human readable ports. And under ports, you define the ports, but we are doing it's -p 3306:3306. So the -p variable is defined under ports. And we use -e or -env is equal to yep, -env. These are the same variables. User is equal to admin. --environment MariaDB password is equal to password. --env MariaDB root password is equal to our root password. So what we are doing right now is we are doing it the same way that we are defining the environment variables in a separate place because it is the syntax, the Docker Compose package which runs your YAML files. It takes the parameters this way. So we can define environment variables like this, ports, and this is your MariaDB that is running. I have added phpMyAdmin so that they both run at the same time in the same network. Because you can see that I am not defining any network here. What
Right.
Docker
Yeah.
Compose do is it creates automatically a network for these all containers, and we don't need to specify a network. It will talk with each other. I mean, both containers will talk each other with the names. So till here, this is MariaDB container created with the name MariaDB2
MariaDB2.
with the ports listening on 3306 with our root password. We are interested in root password. This admin user, I mean, I have created it because it is the environment variable that we put some user and some password. So I did was admin and password, and the root password is jazz82. So till here our MariaDB container is installed. What we want to do next is we want to manage this container through phpMyAdmin. So now we are again pulling a container phpMyAdmin. This is the second container. You can add a third container, like you can go like that. So image is again like here. Image is the phpMyAdmin image. This is the image which we will pull from Docker Hub. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And then we will create a container with this container name. --name is equal to phpMyAdmin. Third thing is the port -p. Port is like 8080, and which is mapped to inside of a container where Apache is running and the phpMyAdmin code is running. That's listening on port 80. So we are doing the mapping here. And then again, the environment is PMA host is equal to MariaDB2.
MariaDB2.
I mean, PMA host here, we are defining the variable that you will connect to this MariaDB2 database server. Okay.
Yes.
Now what I want to do is I want to run this file. And before that, Docker PS, nothing is running.
Docker.
And now I can go on my screen again the same way. Or I can go on port. Oh, sorry, port 8080. So again, phpMyAdmin is there, and if we type root and JAZZ82, okay, JAZZ82. Yep, you see, it's the same database, same phpMyAdmin, and everything works great. And there is no database example.com. Sorry, example. We have created example, right? It is gone because we have, with the down command, we have destroyed all the containers. And with up, these containers are created again. So your data is lost because the default behavior of container is whenever the container is restarted, it is non-persistent. Your data is gone. Any question on this? Mohsen?
Even if the even
Hello? Hello?
Habib, continue.
yeah, is there any way we can persist the data if the even if
Yes, we
the
have. That's it, what I wanted to hear. I mean, everybody is so silent that if the data is gone, why we need containers? I mean, what's the point of it? We we map the volumes with our physical hosts or with NFS shares, but mostly for the database, we need to mount a volume. For the application, maybe if we are getting something inside application, like if we need persistence, then we make the volumes persistent. We will discuss it in our next classes. But let's say we have an application, we have a search engine, we have something which does not require to save anything on a application level. So you can do the scaling like deploy 100 application containers and do the load balancing. And if the load is increased, you just on the click of a button, you make that 100 Docker containers into 200 Docker containers. So Docker is used for scalability, but the architecture should be designed, or application should be designed accordingly. And let me tell you, the MySQL, the container is available, but right now, mostly MySQL or MariaDB or Oracle or map servers or GIS servers, they don't run on Docker these days. They are done the traditional way, because the database, if you are using MySQL, let's say you have used persistent volumes, but what do you do about the clustering? What do you do about the backups? Like you have active clusters, active slave clusters. So doing clustering in Docker is possible, but it is way complicated than doing it the traditional way. So we will make the persistence, but as I can see now that it is better that I stop here. I will share the document. I am already writing a document for this containers. I will share it today. First, you implement